Good morning, Stampers. My name is Juanette, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, Juanette's Paper Crafts. These cute little ornaments I made for my 3 grandchildren, and I use 3 different stamp sets from the catalog. I sell the products that I feature in my video tutorials, so if you would like any of them, please visit me at juanettehewitt.stampinup.net. Now this first little ornament, I used the Perfectly Plaid stamp set and the Pine Tree Punch. And gold foil sheets. Then for this ornament, I use the Holly Jolly Christmas die for the Santa and his sleigh and the reindeer. For this ornament, I used the Still Scenes stamp set for the house. And for all of them, I used the dies to that snow globe scenes die to cut out the bottom of the globes. Then I also used the Twinkle Builder Punch for the stars for the shaker part of the ornament. I used Winter Woods, the die, that's the slope there, for my snow slope. I also used the Snowfall Accents Puff Paint for my snow. And then Dazzling Diamonds from the annual catalog to also add into the shaker part of my ornament. But there is also some, I believe it is called stamping glitter. So as my favorite YouTuber would say, let's get crackin'. So I first cut out 6 circles using the 3/4 inch punch from that masking tape or post-it note tape. And originally you can see I start marking where I need to cut out, but then I realized I don't really need to do that. And because I'm making 3 ornaments, each with 2 sides, I am doing double of each one, so that makes 6. Now I started off with applying ink for my background, and Balmy Blue was my first color using my ink blending makeup brush and applied ink, starting off on my glass mat first and then bringing the color in. And because this doesn't show a whole lot in the final ornament, I wasn't extremely careful in my blending. I just wanted to lay down a little bit of color. Then I bring in my Highland Heather to add just a little bit of a purple tone. Using a different ink brush. and just apply a little bit around those masks that will be the moon. And then the last color I bring in is Night of Navy. Just applying a little bit more toward the top of where the dome will be than toward the bottom. But again, applying it just about everywhere. Then I come back in with the Balmy Blue just to add a little bit more of that lighter blue and to blend things out. I absolutely love these makeup brushes or blending brushes. They really make applying the ink very easy. And now I have designated certain ones for my dark colors and other ones for my lighter colors. So then now I want to add some stars to my background, and I took our Whisper White ink refill and applied a few drops to a stamping block. Now this is quite thick, so I need to thin it out, and I do that by just adding a little bit of water. I suppose you could use a little bit of rubbing alcohol also. So I mix that up with a paintbrush, a small one. And then take my block and my brush and just tap the brush to the edge of the stamping block, and it gives us some nice little splatters to the background which will simulate stars. This does take a little bit of time to dry, so either leave it for a while or use your heat gun to really let that dry. Then I took some of our glimmer paint, and you've seen me do this before, add it to a spritzer with rubbing alcohol, and I sprayed the back of this panel that will be the back of our ornament with a little bit of glitter there so that it will give some shimmer and shine. So now I'm going to make the snow slope, and again I took the Winter Woods die, and because it doesn't really matter how big of an area I cut, because it will be cut down quite a bit, I did do double layers through the die cutting machine. And then here's my slope, and I just tore them off because, like I said, you're going to see in a little bit that I will be cutting these down. On some of them, I applied two together to give a little bit more of a dimension of the snow slope, and then on a couple of them I just left them as one slope. So then you're going to take your snow globe die, you're going to place it over that Whisper White cardstock. You're going to run it through your die cutting machine, and you will be left with your snowbanks. And again, because I am making 3 ornaments, I needed double of those, so I did 6 of them. And there I'm just checking to make sure that they will fit nicely into the bottom of the snow globe. Then I took our Snowfall accent puff paint, and it does say to shake it well. Then took my trusty hemostats, which really helps with holding something still and not having it blow away as you use your heat gun. I applied this puff paint to my snowbanks. It is quite liquid, and so when you bring your heat tool to it, I would start a little bit further away at first, and then as it starts to dry, bring your heat tool a little bit closer. Otherwise, if you get too close at first, the ink blows off your cardstock. And you can see it puffs up quite nicely. I felt like it needed just a little bit more snow, so I added a little bit more, and then again applied heat to it so that it would puff up. Now here I'm going to show you a little bit of a difference between 2 different products. I bought this snow marker off of Amazon prior to Stampin' Up coming out with the Snowfall accents, and you can see I did some on both of those snow slopes, and you can see the other one is very dark and muddy looking, and our Stampin' Up one is quite white and crystal clear. Now I took some of our sparkly glimmer paper, cut out some stars using the Twinkle Builder Punch for my shaker part. For the perfectly plaid ornament, I at first thought I would use this stamp, but ended up changing my mind. But I kept it in the video just so you could see how this one works out. So I took soft suede, stamped the background first of the tree trunk and the limbs, then added shaded spruce over the top of it, and added some red rhinestones to it after I cut it out with our punch, but realized when I was assembling the ornament that I wanted gold accents as opposed to red accents. Now these rhinestones are absolutely fantastic. They're in our annual catalog, and look how pretty they are. But like I said, I decided to go with gold. So then now I die cut out my globes and removed the masking paper, so you can see I have moons on each one of those sky scenes. Then I took Copic markers and added a little bit of color to those moons so they wouldn't be stark white. I started with C00 just off to that right side, and I would have used our Stampin' Up! Blends. However, the gray colors that we currently have are a little bit too dark, I felt, so I went with my Copic markers because they're a little bit lighter. I added a little bit of the C1 over it. I did this on each one of them. And then I took the marker and added little dots in there to make it look like those were the craters in the moon. And you can see it gives a little bit more dimension to that moon than just leaving it white. So here is what I finally did for the tree instead of the previous one. I stamped it out with shaded spruce. The pine tree, I did it twice. Using my Stamparatus so that I would have good placement, because you can see I need to add a little bit more ink to that right side of that tree, and that Stamparatus makes the positioning of that just perfect. Then you can see on the tree I took our metallic pearls from the annual catalog and added them as little ornaments on top of the tree. Now, to make these circles, and I started for this card using the gold foil sheets. I took a 3 1/4 inch circle die, skipped a die in the middle, and then used a 2 3/4 inch circle die, laid them on top of the foil sheet, and cut out a ring. Then I took a 3-inch circle die and cut out a piece of Whisper White, thick cardstock, which will be the background that we will adhere our shaker part to. So let's start assembling this one. So you're going to take your tree that you've punched out, apply liquid glue to the back of it, lay it to the left of your moon, and you see how nicely that fits in there, just absolutely perfect. Then I take my snowbank, again apply a little bit of liquid glue to it, and line it up to the bottom of the night sky. Trying not to smash down that snow. Then you take your 3-inch circle and glue that piece there to the top of it, giving a nice border all around the edge. Then I add some of those stars that I took or punched out from the Twinkle Builder Punch, added those to the middle. added a few clear sequins, and then took some of the snowflakes from our October 2019 paper pumpkin kit and added those to our snow globe center to be able to shake around. And then finally, I added a little bit of the Dazzling Diamonds glitter that's in the annual catalog. And like I said, we have some other glitter that is in the holiday catalog. So the snow globe has double-sided tape already adhered to both sides. Now, I'm showing you my nails because that's a sad situation, sisters. However, remember, I'm a nurse. I have to keep my nails quite short. Remember, I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and who wants long nails on their labor and delivery nurse? Plus, I'd rather be crafting than going to the nail salon to get my nails done. So, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these nails in my YouTube videos. I may just keep nail polish off. But do you see how nicely that sticks to that 3-inch circle? And then I just repeat it with the other one. Now, this is the gold ring that I cut out. And the top of the snow globe also has double-sided adhesive. So you just pull the backing off of that. This gives you a nice little decorative border to the ornament. I felt that the bottom was a little bit thicker there, so I turned it around to give me more toward the top there and a little bit thinner border toward the bottom. And again, you're going to do it to both of them. Now, these are the bottom of the snow globe that I cut out using the dies. And this was again out of the gold foil sheets. I applied a little bit of liquid glue to the top of that one, adhered it to that base, then added double-sided tape at the top of it and adhered it to the snow globe itself. And I did that on both of them. Now I put some gold ribbon on the back of it that would be able to hold the ornament so you can hang it on your tree. I just used Scotch tape to adhere the ribbon, but then I added double-sided tape to the back of the ornament so it would be a little bit stronger there. I realized there up in that left-hand corner I left a little bit of that double-sided tape and didn't peel it off, but that's okay because I also add some liquid glue all over the back of both sides so that it would adhere quite nicely. Just line them up pressing down all around each edge so that they adhere nicely. And there is our first ornament completed. Now for the next ornament, I used the Still Scenes little house stamp that you can see up there in the right hand corner, and just very quickly I stamped it twice using soft suede ink, then colored it in very again easily using the shaded spruce for the trees, starting with the light shaded spruce, then coming in with a little bit of the darker shaded spruce. Then my house is starting with the light cherry cobbler ink. These are blenders that are in the annual catalog, and they're fantastic. They're ink blenders, so they blend quite nicely. I start out with a light color and then add some dimension using the darker cherry cobbler. Got a little chimney up at the top. And then the pineapple punch is used to just add a little bit of yellow in the windows so it looks like there's light illuminating from them. There is a matching die to cut out this scene. I use the crumb cake to color up and into the trees a little bit. There's no leaves there, but I just added a little bit color to the branches there. I did the same thing as the other one. I adhered it to my background, added my snow, glued it to my 3-inch circle. And I can't remember if I mentioned, but for this color scheme, I used the copper foil sheets. Gluing it to both of those circles, just like before. Taking my snow globe shaker dome. That's a tongue twister. Adding some stars and some sequins and some dazzling diamonds. I'm going to order with my next order some of those Snowflake Sequins from the catalog. Those were fun. Now this one is for my granddaughter Olivia. I need to figure out a way that I can put the date on the back of it somehow so that they will remember that this was from their grandmother this year. This is really strong double-sided adhesive, so nothing is going to fall out of it. Some people I have heard have used glycerin and actual water in it. And I have to try that because I still have a few snow globes left over. I want to make a underwater scene. And there is Miss O's ornament completed. Now, this one I decided to use the silver foil sheets, and I used the Santa, sleigh, and reindeer die. But as you can see, that die has 3 reindeer and is too long to go over my little night scene there. So I die cut it out of Whisper White cardstock, then snipped off some of it so that it would fit in nicely on that night scene. So I have 1 reindeer. I added a little bit of red, the cherry cobbler, to the top of his hat and Rudolph's nose. Then I just glued the 2 together. Then added liquid glue to the back of that whole piece and stuck it to my back scene area. I love how versatile this set is, where you could have 1 reindeer, 2 reindeer, or 3 reindeer. Oh, you know what else you could do? You could cut out more reindeer and have 5 or 6 or 7 reindeer. Oh my gosh, how fun. Same thing as before. I add my snowbank. Lining it up at the bottom there. And I use my little poke tool there to help it adhere down so that I'm not pressing on the snow and flattening it out. Now, this is not a blooper, but watch how I try to finagle with these sequins and these snowflakes. How many times has this happened to you? Watch how they just stick to my fingers and will not come off. Oh my heavens. If any of you have a way to remedy this, please write it in the comments section. Because look, oh my heavens, they will not come off my fingers. Oh. So then I take my jewel picker and pick them up. But again, then they stick to my finger and they won't come off. Oh, you gotta have fun. I love crafting. It is so much fun, even with some of these little small aggravations. Again, let me know how to fix that. So here are all 3 of my ornaments. Now, my grandson Gavin says, "Grandma, with YouTube, you have to do some shout outs. So this is a shout out for Gavin. This is his ornament. It's the tree. Then there is a shout out for Judson. He is getting the silver one with the Santa and the sleigh. And then the shout out for my Olivia, who I lovingly have always called her Miss O. This is hers. Thank you for joining me today, and if there's anything I can do to help you out, please let me know. Leave me any comments in the comment section, ways that I can improve my videos, things you like, things you don't like. I would be more than happy for any feedback, and have a great day with crafting. Goodbye.